This man doesn't know how to use a computer. This was the first time the internet cafe owner encountered someone like this. After teaching him how to use the computer, he took a photo with that man. But as the man was leaving, the cafe owner learned that he didn't even know how to use a cell phone. The owner instinctively asked if he had been in prison this whole time. After hearing a yes from the man, the owner felt a bit embarrassed. After sincere apologies, the owner learned that Russell had been in prison for 21 years for selling an ounce of marijuana. The owner couldn't believe this since marijuana is now legalized. Russell was surprised to hear this but silently nodded, feeling helpless and melancholic. At 40 years old, Russell is completely disconnected from the present world and does not have any family. After his release, he found a dishwashing job and put in much more effort than others to keep this job. Even the owner wanted Russell to take a 10-minute break. However, Russell continued to work diligently, believing that his identity determined his lower status in society. When Russell goes back home, he always wears his yellow hat. Living alone in a small welfare apartment during dark and lonely nights, he eats cold hamburgers, but he doesn't like to eat the sweet sauce in it, so he always throws them aside onto the table. Russell goes to a colorful amusement park where it is filled with laughter and joy. He plays ball and slides there, momentarily forgetting his troubles. But as the Ferris wheel turns, Russell is once again sunken in darkness. One day, Russell worked at the shop until late. After finishing the cleaning work and carrying 2 large bags of trash to dispose of them, he heard a faint cry in the howling wind as he got closer to the garbage bin. He hesitated but still opened the trash can. Inside, Russell found a baby. Russell hesitated but still carried the baby back into the shop. On a piece of paper, the name Ella was written on it. But the phone was locked in the boss's office, so Russell couldn't call the police. He could only take Ella back to his apartment. He clumsily soothed Ella and the baby surprisingly stopped crying and fell asleep peacefully. After much hesitation, Russell finally dialed 911, but his years in prison made him highly nervous facing the police. When the operator asked him to speak louder, he reflexively lied and he dialed wrong numbers. However, the police still came to verify the situation. Just as they were about to check his identification, a cry came from inside the house. Upon hearing the baby's cry, the police didn't inspect further. Before leaving, they reminded Russell that the baby seemed to have gas and suggested massaging her belly or buying gas relief patches to make her more comfortable. After hearing this, Russell returned to Ella's side and gently rubbed her little tummy. Ella finally stopped crying. But during the day, Ella cried again because she hadn't eaten. Helpless, Russell could only find the discarded sweet sauce and luckily it had a milky taste. He carefully fed Ella, who actually ate it. Ella then ate several more bags and peacefully fell asleep again. Russell took this opportunity to hurriedly run to the supermarket, but he knew nothing about breastfeeding. Fortunately, he met a helpful store employee who told him what formula and bottle to buy, patiently providing Russell with valuable knowledge. Russell finished his shopping and ran back home. His previously despondent and gloomy life now brimmed with hope due to the arrival of the little one. He even neglected his work. Russell read books to Ella, beginning to educate her not to go astray. He also looked up whether he could adopt the baby online, but all the search results told him that he can't. Suddenly, there were a few popping sounds. Russell picked it up and smelled it. Sure enough, it was poop. After he took Ella back for a bath, he chatted about life with her in the bathroom. He mentioned that he was almost 50 years old and had never been to the seaside. Looking at Ella in front of him, Russell made a decision. He took Ella on a train to the seaside and gazed at the blue waves of the ocean. Russell welcomed the light that illuminated him but still habitually hid in the darkness, listening to the sound of the waves there, sitting on a bench under the evening sun. He told Ella about his father, who loved collecting stamps, and how he also fell in love with it under his father's influence. He believed that Ella would also love it. A few days later, when Russell was washing up, Ella accidentally fell off the bed and cried loudly. He immediately came out and saw Ella on the ground. He blamed himself and all attempts to comfort her were in vain. Russell apologized to Ella over and over again and finally took her to see a doctor. But filling out the forms proved to be a challenge for him. Russell could only fill them out truthfully, but when the staff saw his criminal record, she had to call the police in advance because all cases of abandoned babies required police intervention. When Russell heard this, he panicked slightly, but his first question was whether he could still see Ella in the future. When the police arrived, Russell became very nervous but still insisted on Ella taking her toys with her. Under the police interrogation, Russell's mind went blank as he stammered through the process. Luckily, the police eventually let Russell go. Walking on the street back home without sunshine, there was still half a bottle of Ella's milk powder in the house. The next day, when Russell went to work again, the police found him and asked him to identify that trash can. After the investigation was over, the boss learned that Russell had a criminal record and made him take off his work uniform, settling his previous wages and firing him on the spot. After that, Russell spent a few days in a daze and decided to leave California and return to his hometown. After getting on a long-distance bus, Russell still felt like there were police officers following him. He didn't sleep all night, but in the early morning when he left California, he realized that he had finally escaped from the constraints and returned to his hometown. He found his father and talked about how he hadn't lived up to his father's expectations, apologizing to his father and himself. After cleaning his father's gravestone, he peacefully lay in his father's embrace, spending a beautiful afternoon. Russell's father left 2 keys for Russell before he passed away, which he always kept close to his chest. This time, he found an insurance company and used one of the keys to open a safe deposit box. Inside was a letter left by his father, filled with love for him. Prison separates us, and I try to remove the barriers between us. I see you sleeping in the cell, wandering in infinite loneliness. I call your name in the night. You will always be my child, the child nestled in your mother's arms. The other key opened a warehouse where Russell's father had left all his lifelong collection of stamps for Russell. His father told him that he can exchange them for money and start over. His father said it was all he could do, and the rest of the road he couldn't continue to accompany Russell. He had to go see the world on his own and reminded him not to look back. After dressing up, Russell went to Ella's foster care center. He knew he couldn't take Ella with him, so he left a letter with a key to Ella. He instructed the staff to wait until Ella's 18th birthday to give it to her. Russell left Ella with many valuable stamps, which, along with their appreciation over the next dozen years, would be a substantial fortune for Ella. After that, Russell went to the bus station again. When the staff asked him where he was going, before Russell could answer, the movie ended.